Kia ora folks, Anatomy 3. Okay, so today we're looking at the main joints in our body. So you need to be able to know the 6 main joints in our body and the muscles and bones that make them / help them move, okay? How a ball and socket joint works and how a hinge joint works. So what's a joint? A joint is where 2 or more bones meet, okay? So the bones are joined together by ligaments so they don't come apart, but not all joints are the same. A couple of different types of joints that we need to know. First is the ball and socket joint. Second is the hinge joint. The ball and socket joint. Okay, so if you have a look at that picture there, the ball and socket joint, it's pretty self-explanatory. Basically, it's a ball at the head of a bone, and that sits inside the cup of another bone, okay, and it's able to move and swivel around in a really good range of movement. So an example of a ball and socket joint is the shoulder, okay? So the shoulder is made up of 3 bones: the scapula, humerus, and clavicle. There is a ball shape at the head of the humerus which slots into the cup shape in the scapula. The main muscles that move the shoulder are the deltoids, so our shoulder muscles, our pectoralis major, or our chest muscles, our latissimus dorsi, okay, so those are the ones under the armpit, and our trapezius, across the top of our back. Ball and socket joint example 2 is the hip. Okay, so the hip joint is made up of the head of the femur and the cup of the pelvis, alrighty? The main muscles that move the hip joint are the gluteus maximus and the hip flexors, the quadriceps, hamstrings, and adductors. So you need to know all of those. Second joint, hinge joint. Okay, so where before it was a ball inside a cup like that, okay, now we've got a bone like that with the hinge on either side, okay, and it swivels like that, okay. A hinge joint is where a rounded end of one joint sits on top of a concave shaped end of another bone. A hinged joint has a good range of movement, but can only move back and forth, not side to side. Example 1 is the elbow. The elbow is made up where the radius and ulna meet the humerus. The elbow joint can't move side to side, but it can move up and down, okay? The main muscles that move the elbow joint are the biceps and the triceps. Hinge joint example 2 is the knee. The knee is made up where top of the tibia meets the bottom of the femur. Like the elbow, it can move back and forth in one direction, but not side to side like the shoulder. The muscles that move the knee are the hamstrings and the quads, or the quadriceps is what you're going to call them. Other joints, the wrist and the ankle. Okay, so these are kind of funny joints. It's made up of a combination of many smaller joints, alrighty? So there's no single joint that we can call these, but all you need to know are that the muscles that move the wrist are the wrist flexors and wrist extensors, and we'll get to what those meanings are later. The muscles that move the ankle are the gastrocnemius, or our calf muscle, and the tibialis anterior, okay, the one at the front of our shin. The wrist and ankle have a small amount of side-to-side movement, but mostly up and down. Alrighty, so now you need to memorize the bones and muscles of those 6 main joints in our body, okay? The knee, the elbow, the shoulder, the hip, the wrist, and the ankle. You need to be able to describe what a hinge joint is and what a ball and socket joint is, and then complete the Google form quiz, okay, before our Anatomy 3 class. Cheers guys, catch you later.